The Old Man and the Sea, part 37. They sailed well, and the old man soaked his hands in the salt water and tried to keep his head clear. There were high, cumulus clouds, and enough cirrus above them so that the old man knew the breeze would last all night. Remember cumulus, we were talking about the fluffy clouds that look like piles of ice cream, let's put it this way, and cirrus, is the one that looks like feather. It's interesting, I just discovered now that cirrus comes from a Latin word that meant curl of hair, like could also be a fringe, so you kind of get the picture of this hair in the sky. This is cirrus. There were high cumulus clouds and enough cirrus above them so that the old man knew the breeze would last all night. Again, this is something we learn from the experience of others, right? This is not our own experience. I didn't know that depending on the clouds, I could imagine, or I could discover what would happen regarding the wind. It makes sense now that I know, but I know because of that experience, which is not mine. Would last all night. The old man looked at the fish constantly to make sure it was true. It was an hour before the first shark hit him. So we kind of have to take some time to absorb the information, and we're like, what? You're all happy and things are going very smoothly. And it's interesting because the narrator doesn't open a new paragraph, It's not something like constantly to make sure constantly to make sure it was true, period. A new paragraph. It was an hour before the first shark hit him. No, he put it in the same paragraph. And I think the idea is to shock us, So it's like you're reading this thing, it's like, what? The shark was not an accident. He had come up from the deep down in the water as the dark cloud of blood had settled and dispersed in the mile-deep sea. So it was because of the blood from the heart of the fish that this shark is coming. I would like you to pay attention now. We will start, at least for this next 2 or 3 paragraphs, or one big paragraph there, we'll start seeing the things through the eyes of the fish. The narrator just abandons the old man a little bit there, leaves the old man there in the skiff, and follows the shark, until the moment the shark meets the old man, and we'll see. He had come up so fast, the shark, and absolutely without caution, that he broke the surface of the blue water and was in the sun. So it meant the shark was down deep and deep and deep, right? But it suddenly sensed the smell of blood, and then it went so fast that it broke the surface of water, jumped out of the water, and then fell into the water again. Okay. He had come up so fast and absolute without caution that he broke the surface of the blue water and was in the sun. Then he fell back in the sea and picked up the sense and started swimming on the course the skiff and the fish had taken. Sometimes he lost the sense, but he would pick it up again. Or have just a trace of it. And he swam fast and hard on the course. He was a very big mako shark, built to swim as fast as the fastest fish in the sea, and everything about him was beautiful except his jaws. His back was as blue as a swordfish's, and his belly was silver, and his hide was smooth and handsome. He was built as a swordfish, except for his huge jaws, which were tight shut now as he swam fast, just under the surface with his high dorsal fin knifing through the water without wavering. Okay, so the typical shark image, right? So his fin, his dorsal fin, knifing, so cutting the surface of the sea like a knife without wavering, without doing like this, just going, right? Inside the closed double lip of his jaw, all of his 8 rows of teeth were slanted. Remember, it can be slanted like this or like this, but his teeth were slanted inward. Imagine I am the shark, so it's inward to the direction of my inside. They were not the ordinary pyramid-shaped teeth of most sharks. They were shaped like a man's fingers when they are crisped like claws. Something like this. They were nearly as long as the fingers of the old man, and they had razor-sharp cutting edges on both sides. This was a fish built to feed on all the fishes in the sea, that were so fast and strong and well armed that they had no other enemy. Now he speeded up as he smelled the fresher scents, and his blue dorsal fin cut the water. Now we go back to the old man, okay? In the moment they meet. When the old man saw him coming, he knew that this was a shark that had no fear at all, and would do exactly what he wished. He prepared the harpoon and made the rope fast while he watched the shark come on. The rope was short, as it lacked what he had cut away to lash the fish. The old man's head was clear and good now, and he was full of resolution, but he had little hope. Again, very important sentence here. He was full of resolution, but he had very little hope. He knew he was not going to... Chances were very high, let's put it this way. Chances were very high that he wouldn't win the fight, but even so, he was full of resolution. It was too good to last, he thought. He took one look at the great fish as he watched the shark close in. It might as well have been a dream, he thought. I cannot keep him from hitting me, but maybe I can get him. Then Tuso, he thought. Bad luck to your mother. The shark closed fast astern, and when he hit the fish, the old man saw his mouth open and his strange eyes and the clicking chop of the teeth as he drove forward in the meat just above the tail. The shark's head was out of the water and his back was coming out, and the old man could hear the noise of skin and flesh ripping on the big fish when he rammed the harpoon down on the shark's head at a spot where the line between his eyes intersected with the line that ran straight back from his nose. There was no such lines. I'm going to read before I forget. Remember, the shark's head is like this, right? So you have the eyes here, and you have the nose here. So if you get this line with the line of the eyes here, where those two lines intersect, remember it's an imaginary line, right? Probably you're going to have the brain right there. And of course, that's what the old man is aiming at. So let me go. Between his eyes intersected with the line that ran straight back from his nose. There were no such lines. There was only the heavy, sharp blue head, and the big eyes, and the clicking, thrusting, all swallowing jaws. But that was the location of the brain, and the old man hit it. He hit it with his blood-mushed hands, driving a good harpoon with all his strength. He hit it without hope, but with resolution and complete malignancy. Again, similar to the sentence I read before, right? He hit it without hope, but he hit it with resolution and complete malignancy. Malignancy because, of course, he wants to kill the shark, right? The shark swung over And the old man saw his eyes, the shark swung over, and the old man saw his eye was not alive. And then he swung over once again, wrapping himself in 2 loops of the rope. Because remember, the old man hit the shark here, in the brain, and with the harpoon, right? And the harpoon is connected to the rope. As the shark swung over, right? It swung over and it wrapped himself in the rope, right? Wrapping himself in 2 loops of the rope. The old man knew that he was dead, but the shark would not accept it. Again, we have this idea of the strength of the will, right? And we have the similar image we had with the fish, right? So the old man knew that the shark was dead, but he would not accept it. Then, on his back, with his tail lashing and his jaws clicking, the shark plowed over the water as a speedboat does. Plow is like to go over the water. So imagine a speedboat that does like this, right? And you can see the water, you know, like foaming here. So this is the way the shark did. The water was white where his tail beat it, and 3/4 of his body was clear above the water when the rope came taut, you know, so the rope stretched, so the shark just swam away, right? And the rope came taut, shivered, and snapped. Okay, the shark lay quietly for a while on the surface, and the old man watched him. Then he went down very slowly. He took about 40 pounds, the old man said aloud. He took my harpoon too, and all the rope, he thought. And now my fish bleeds again, and there will be others. He did not like to look at the fish anymore, since he had been mutilated. When the fish had been hit, it was as though he himself were hit. But I killed the shark that hit my fish, he thought. And he was the biggest dentuço that I have ever seen. And God knows I have seen big ones.